Om Namo Bhagavate
Thank you.
Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Today we wanted to talk about Balaram Rasyatra. A few things actually. Balaram Rasyatra is one, and then we have also Krishna, what is it called? KrsnaVasant, and also we'll talk about VamsivadanThakur and also Syamananda prabhu. Is the appearance day of the last two. So Balaram Rasyatra is, we want to seek the blessings of Radha, Krishna, Balaram as well, Krishna, Balaram, Gaunita Shila Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj, and the assembled Vaishnavas. So what is Balaram Rasyatra all about? It was yesterday, started yesterday. Baladev became very anxious to see his mother and father. So he set off from Dwarka to also mitigate the separation of the residents of Vrindavan who were anxious to see Krishna and Balaram. So this is these pastimes are in Krishna book. Reaching Vrindavan, he embraced the Sakhas of Vrajabas, of Vraja, and he offered his obeisances to Nanda and Yashoda, who addressed him as Jagadishwar and inquired about him and Krishna. Gopis arrived, and after joyfully greeting Balaram, they specifically asked about Krishna, accusing Krishna of many things. Balaram, understanding their ecstatic feelings, pacified the gopis with Krishna's Leela. In order to keep the gopis in Vrindavan satisfied, Lord Balaram stayed there continually for 2 months, namely the months of Chaitra and Vaishakh. For those 2 months, he kept himself among the gopis and he passed every night with them in the forest of Vrindavan in order to satisfy their desires for conjugal love. Thus, when Balaram also enjoyed the rasa dance with the gopis during those 2 months. And they were his gopis. Krishna has his own gopis and Balaram has his. So this he was enjoyed with his set of gopis that keep company with him. There's 2 sets of gopis, Krishna's gopis and Balaram's. So it's not that Balaram enjoyed the ras dance with Krishna's gopis. That would have been ras abas, a disturbance in the ras. There are his gopis who are attracted to him in Madhurya ras. And so he had his ras leela with them. And he pacified the other gopis, those who were attached to Krishna, by speaking about Krishna. Experiencing great joy, he drank a nectarian honey drink named Varuni. And became transcendently intoxicated, desiring to bathe with his consorts in the river Yamuna. He called upon Yamuna Devi. When she did not come on his order, out of anger, he dragged her with his plow to the place where he was performing pastimes, where, being fearful of him, she begged for forgiveness and came there to offer her waters for the pleasure of Lord Balaram. This is Yamuna Devi and Balaram getting a little bit stroppy. And this is Yamuna Devi asking for forgiveness. So that's the first part. Balaram Rasyatra starts now for 2 months. And yesterday it started. And then yesterday also is KrsnaVasant Rasa. The Purnima, or the full moon of Damodar month, is the second full moon of the autumn season, and the Ras Leela is celebrated. On this day, so yesterday, the full worship of Radha and Krishna is done with many flowers, and they're placed in the Ras Mandap, surrounded by the gopis. Shri KrsnaVasant Ras is similar, except that it is in spring, Vasant. That's why it's Vasant. At this time, everyone dresses in yellow. On this full moon night, the devotees usually leave out pots of sweet rice, pasayam, so for the Lord to enjoy during his Ras. So this is the Ras Leela. Krishna enjoys with the gopis. So that's also started yesterday. So VamsivadanThakur. He appeared in Navadvip in 1466 in the house of Sri Madhava. Vamsivadananda is the incarnation of Krishna's flute. Vamsi was engaged in the service of Vishnu Priya, one time. Vishnupriya and VamsivadanThakur decided to give up taking food and water. Not being any point in maintaining their bodies, which was so wrecked with this pain of separation from Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, however, didn't approve of this, and he manifested himself before them. Then he requested them not to behave so rashly and instructed them to both worship his deity form in order to mitigate their feelings of separation. So this is when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas and he went to Jagannath Puri. So his wife Vishnupriya and Vamsi, they were very upset. So they decided not to eat. But Mahaprabhu doesn't like that. So he asked them, please eat. VamsivadanThakur had two sons, Chaitanya Das and Nityananda Das. The two sons of Chaitanya Das were Ramachandra and Sachidananda. Sachinanda. Ramachandra was the adopted son and disciple of Janava Mata. So we sing some of the bhajans that Ramachandra Kaviraj wrote. VamsivadanThakur was a poet, composer of songs. He composed one song about the Lord's acceptance of sannyas based on the lamentation of Sri Sachimata and Sri Vishnupriya. Some say that Ramachandra Goswami, the son of Chaitanya Das, VamsivadanThakur's son, Gosai, was an incarnation of VamsivadanThakur. So that's a very brief explanation of Vamsivadananda. And now we want to talk about the main character, Syamananda Prabhu. Syamananda was a great devotee of Lord Chaitanya. He was a contemporary of the great Acharya KrsnaVasant and Narottam Das Thakur. So the three of them were very instrumental in spreading the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu after the Lord disappeared. They studied under Jiva Goswami in Vrindavan, and they started a resurgence of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's bhakti movement in Bengal and Orissa, where it was flagging in the period after the Lord left the planet. So Syamananda appeared in 1534 in the house of Sri Krishna Mandal and Srimati Durika Devi. And he was named Dukhi by his parents, who had lost so many sons and daughters before them. So they wanted to ward off all inauspiciousness by giving them their son such a name. It was predicted that he was a great soul come to preach the glories of Lord Jagannath. He was highly intelligent, and he soon mastered all the scriptures and the science of grammar. But when he heard the transcendental pastimes of Gaur Nitai from the Vaishnavas in his village, he developed a strong attachment to their lotus feet. Taking his father's blessings, Dukhi Krishna Das went to Ambika, Kalna, where he took shelter of his guru, Hridaya Chaitanya, who was a disciple of Gauri Das Pandit. After being initiated, he was named Dukhi Krishna Das. Seeing this, his great intelligence and devotion, he was instructed to go to Sri Vrindavan Dham to study under the guidance of Jiva Goswami. Syamananda set off for Vrindavan, but first visiting Mayapur to meet Ishan, the servant of Jagannath Misra. And then he went to Gaya to have darshan of Sri Vishnu, Kashi to take blessings of Chandrasekhar, Tapan Mishra and others. Under the care of Jiva Goswami, he met Srinivas Acharya and Narottam Das Thakur, and together they performed devotional service in each other's association and under the tutelage of Jiva Goswami. Upon receiving the special service of sweeping Seva Kunj from Jiva Goswami, Dukhi Krishna Das would every day sweep the groves of Seva Kunj, where the divine couple came and performed pastimes every night. And they still do that. And he did this service for many years. And just sweeping, one day, he came upon a very special, so when he was sweeping, he came across a very special and transcendental ankle bell, the beauty of which astonished him. And he kept it safe with him, hoping to have audience with the owner of the divine ornament. soon a young maiden, actually Vikshaka herself, one of the gopis, whose beauty was beyond the material creation, came to him and asked him if he had found an ankle bell by sweeping. So there you go, ankle bell. So this is while he was sweeping the temple. Dukhi Krishna replied he had found a special ankle. But when Vikshaka asked for it, saying that it belonged to her dear Sakhi, Dukhi Krishna refused to give it to anyone other than the owner herself. Very intelligent, very, very intelligent. Hearing this, the gopi Vishaka went back. The ankle bell actually belonged to Shrimati Radharani. And being pleased with him, she personally came and gave him darshan of her lotus feet. She placed the ankle bell on his forehead, the touch of which marked his forehead with a special tilak marking. And she also gave him the name Syamananda. So he was called Dukhi Krishna. Now he's Syamananda. Shyam means black, Anand means happy. So she changed his name. This is Radharani putting this tilak on him and giving him a name, Syamananda. This is the tilak, a little different from what we wear. Being thus blessed, Dukhi Krishna was overjoyed. But when he went back, all the Vaishnavas started questioning him as to why he changed his tilak. This was revolutionary stuff. When asked by Jiva Goswami, Dukhi Krishna related the whole story to him, which gave him immense pleasure to the heart of Jiva Goswami. But when Hriday Chaitanya, who was in Bengal, heard of this change of tilak and change of name, he was furious. He came to Vrindavan and he was not happy to see this different type of tilak. He told Syamananda off. But then in a dream, Radharani came to Hriday Chaitanya and said, and gave him the whole episode, what happened, and explained that her mercy has been bestowed on Syamananda. Hriday Chaitanya was very sorry and he hugged his disciple. Soon thereafter, on the order of Jiva Goswami, Syamananda, along with Narottam and Srinivas, set off to Bengal and Orissa with a trunk full of Goswami's literatures to preach the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So now we know this pastime a little bit, that the king of that area, Bir Hambir, he had the scriptures stolen. They didn't know there were scriptures. They were thinking there must be some valuables in the carts that were being carried by the three Goswamis, three devotees. Anyway, these books got stolen. And for the purpose of recovering the stolen scriptures, Srinivas stayed behind. And Syamananda Prabhu returned to Ambika Kalna, which is where he was born. Hriday accepted the service of his disciple for some time and then ordered Syamananda to go to Orissa and revive the Sankirtan movement again. While preaching, he initiated the boy named Rasika, who became a great devotee of the Lord, well known as Rasikananda, and inspired many people of all classes to take up the path of Krishna Bhakti. So Rasikananda is a very famous devotee, very nice devotee. Syamananda thereafter traveled widely to spreading the holy names of the Lord, and he also attended the grand festival at Keturi, where the first Goa Punim festival was held. He again met Srinivas and Narottam. So Syamananda initiated many disciples who continued his preaching. Some call it Syamanandi sect. After his disappearance in Kanapur, Orissa, where his samadhi is located. So this is the deities in Vrindavan called Radha Shyam Sundar. Very, very beautiful deities being worshipped there. And Syamananda is partly responsible for these deities. Very beautiful. They get dressed and decorated every single day, very beautifully. Extraordinary. And these are smaller deities by the side. And this is Syamananda. Extraordinary devotee, really amazing. And he had darshan of Radharani. So really, truly amazing devotee. So I wanted to stop there. Anybody like to share any pastimes or any questions? Please, you can do it now. So.
Sorry, it's me. I'm glad they changed his name because the original name was Dukhi, and in our we say when he's Dukhi, that means he's not happy. Yeah. But Syamananda got the new name, which I was happy very with suitable. The name. And then the tilak was gone like more big.
Yeah, and it's
done
got
it.
gaps in there. Yeah.
Yeah, and the darshan you sent just now. I mean, I do get everyday darshan from Hare Krishna, but I don't know where are original.
This is from Vrindavan, so they belong to one of the Goswamis.
Can I show you quickly which one I'm getting?
Yeah,
it won't take a second. Yeah,
sure.
And I'm every day I'm so pleased. The way they're wearing the new vastras.
Yeah,
and they are lovely garlands are beautiful.
Yeah, every day, yes, they get garlands.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I sometimes think how long it taking to change those clothes.
Takes at least an hour minimum, and they have about 6-7 people doing it. Devotees.
Look, can you see this? Can you see it? Can you see it?
Yeah, that looks like rather Gokulananda in Watford. Yes.
Oh, these Watford. Are Watford?
Yeah, Watford.
Are you
very good?
Sure?
Yeah, Watford deities. The Radha Gokulananda.
Oh, I thought they were coming from India.
No.
What about this one? Can you see it?
That's Panchatattva in Mayapur.
Oh, so these are from India.
They're from India.
Yeah. When I see them, I said, when you say it's from Watford, it's still beautiful. I just think how they get the fresh flowers every day and make them wear those nice garlands.
Yes, a great effort. Great effort.
Very effort. Yeah. Thank you. Anyway.
Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing.
I'm every day pleased to see them.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you very much. Nice. Okay, so Hare Krishna, everybody. Radha Krishna Bhagwan ki jai.